Let me know when we're rolling, and I will get started. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dan Garodnick, Chair of the City Planning Commission and Director of the Department of City Planning. Welcome to today's public meeting and the last City Planning Commission session for 2023. We're going to start this morning's agenda with a special review session to go over some modifications for 541 to 545 Bay Street in Staten Island. This proposal would enable an 8-story mixed-use building with about 80 homes, about a third of them income restricted and ground floor retail. The council made a few modifications that we believe are in scope, but we will start the day with that. Then we will move to our public meeting and a few votes, 3 of them in the Bronx, all related to authorizations in special natural area districts. These authorizations are to facilitate a new dormitory at 4800 Independence Avenue in Riverdale, a new single-family home at 4671 Grosvenor Avenue in Fieldston, and a new school at 680 West 232nd Street in Spuyten-Duyvil. Then we will move on to Brooklyn, where we will hold a vote on 230 Kent Avenue, a proposal in Williamsburg that would create 40 homes, a dozen of them income restricted and ground floor retail. This project would be near the Domino Park, Bedford Avenue L train stop, and the New York City Ferry's North Williamsburg dock. Staying in Brooklyn, but moving a little bit south, we'll also vote 962 Pacific Street. This mixed-use proposal for Crown Heights would include 150 homes, around 40 of them income restricted, as well as commercial and community facility space near the A and C trains and the Franklin Avenue shuttle. We will wrap up our votes with 3 proposals that are in Staten Island. Let's see here. I'm sorry. We're 3 proposals. Staten Island, we've got a vote on an authorization to facilitate the enlargement of an existing home at 180 Campus Road in Grimes Hill, and a restoration of 64 Anfield Court in Tote Hill. And in Spuyten-Duyvil in the Bronx, we'll vote on a SNAD certification to enlarge an existing single-family house at 3040 Scenic Place. The sole public hearing of the day is on the Brownsville Arts Center and apartments. Part of the Department of Housing Preservation and Development's Brownsville plan to create thousands of new homes. This specific project would bring 290 income-restricted homes, new community facility space, and nearly 20,000 square feet of open space to 376 Rockaway Avenue. It is close to multiple bus and subway lines and about a half mile from the Long Island Railroad. Finally, since this is our last meeting of the year, I'd like to wish everyone on the commission, the room, and everybody watching online a very happy, relaxing, healthy holiday season. Happy New Year. And of course, to Commissioner Bozorg, for whom this is her last meeting, we will also wish her a very fond farewell with lots of appreciation for her service to the commission. And with that, Sarah, I'm going to turn to you for our special review session.
Good morning and welcome to the City Planning Commission special review session. The time is 10:05 a.m. and a quorum is present. The first and only item on our agenda is a City Council modification scope determination for the 541-545 Bay Street zoning text amendment in Staten Island Community District 1. The City Council proposes to modify the zoning text amendment to Appendix F removing the workforce option, and staff believe this modification is within scope.
Okay, great. Any questions? None. Okay, with that, I seek assent by voice vote to send a letter to the council that these modifications are, in fact, within scope. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Great, thank you. The ayes have it, and we will send that letter. We are closing now the special review session, and we will begin our public meeting of today, December 13. Madam Secretary.
Good morning. This is a City Planning Commission public meeting held remotely through the NYC Engage portal and in person in the CPC hearing room 120 Broadway, Lower Concourse. Today is Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. I will now call the roll. Chair Gorodnick.
Here.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Here.
Commissioner Benjamin, absent. Commissioner Bozarg. Here. Commissioner Cerullo.
Here.
Commissioner Crowell.
Present.
Commissioner Doak.
Here.
Commissioner Gold.
Here.
Commissioner Goodrich. Here. Commissioner Kermani.
Here.
Commissioner Marin.
Here.
Commissioner Osorio.
Here.
Commissioner Ramprashad is
Here.
on Zoom.
Here.
A quorum is present. The first item is the approval of the minutes of the public meeting of Wednesday, November 29th, 2023.
Great. I make a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Minutes are approved.
Scheduling calendar numbers 1 through 6. We have resolutions for adoption scheduling Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024, for a public hearing to be held in person in the CPC hearing room 120 Broadway and remotely through the NYC Engage portal.
I make a motion to approve the resolution. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Marin. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Resolution is adopted.
The next part of the calendar is the report section on page 7. Borough of the Bronx, calendar numbers 7, 8, and 9. CD8, calendar number 7, N240042ZAX. Calendar number 8, N240043ZAX. Calendar number 9, N240044ZAX. And the matter of an application for the grant of authorization concerning 4800 Independence Avenue Dormitory. For the adoption of calendar numbers 7, 8, and 9. Chair Gorodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Bozarg.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Doak.
Yes.
Commissioner Gold.
Yes.
Commissioner Goodrich.
Yes.
Commissioner Kermani.
Yes.
Commissioner Marin.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Calendar numbers 7, 8, and 9 have been adopted. Borough of the Bronx, calendar numbers 10, 11, and 12. CD8, calendar number 10, N240054ZAX. Calendar number 11, N240055ZAX. Calendar number 12, N240056ZAX. In the matter of applications for the grant of authorizations concerning 4671 Grosvenor Avenue, SNAD. For the adoption of calendar numbers 10, 11, and 12. Chair Gorodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Bozarg.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Doak.
Yes.
Commissioner Gold.
Yes.
Commissioner Goodrich.
Yes.
Commissioner Kermani.
Yes.
Commissioner Marin.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Calendar numbers 10, 11, and 12 have been adopted. Borough of the Bronx, calendar numbers 13 and 14. CD8, calendar number 13, N240048ZAX. Calendar number 14, N240049ZAX. And the matter of applications for the grant of authorizations concerning 680 West 232nd Street, SNAD. For the adoption of calendar numbers 13 and 14. Chair Gorodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Bozarg.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell. Commissioner Doak.
Yes.
Commissioner Gold.
Yes.
Commissioner Goodrich.
Yes.
Commissioner Kermani.
Yes.
Commissioner Marin.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Calendar numbers 13 and 14 have been adopted. Borough of Brooklyn, calendar numbers 15 and 16, 230 Kent Avenue rezoning. CD1, calendar number 15, C230289ZMK. Calendar number 16, N230288ZRK. And the matter of applications for zoning map and zoning text amendments concerning 230 Kent Avenue rezoning. For favorable reports on calendar numbers 15 and 16. Chair Gorodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Bozarg.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Doak.
Yes.
Commissioner Gold.
Yes.
Commissioner Goodrich. Yes. Commissioner Kermani.
Yes.
Commissioner Marin.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
I vote no. I respectfully disagree with the report and that a proposed MX district without a plan for manufacturing is not appropriate.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendar numbers 15 and 16. Borough of Brooklyn, calendar numbers 17, 18, and 19. 962 Pacific Street rezoning, CD8. Calendar number 17, C230157 ZMK. Calendar number 18, N230158 ZRK. Calendar number 19, C230159 ZSK. And the matter of application for zoning map and zoning text amendments and special permits concerning 962 Pacific Street rezoning. For favorable reports on calendar numbers 17, 18, and 19, Chair Grodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Bozarg.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Dueck.
Yes.
Commissioner Gold.
Yes.
Commissioner Goodrich.
No. I'm voting no. I live in this area and I'm very familiar with it. I have an issue with MIH. I don't think it's enough housing, and sometimes we have developments and projects where the housing is supplemented. But I am also concerned that, for example, in this project, the one bedrooms start at $2,000 for it, and I don't think that is truly affordable housing. And I mean those are under the MIH. So I'm voting no. Thank you.
Commissioner Kermani.
Yes.
Commissioner Medin.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
I vote yes, but I wanted to make a recommendation that we include in the report a bit of language associated with the discussion that we had at the public hearing regarding the commitment to include manufacturing industrial uses within the mix, but also some of the commitments made, there, but also in the letter that was submitted in September from the applicant. Thank you.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendar numbers 17, 18, and 19. Borough of Queens, calendar numbers 20 and 21. 16611 91st Avenue Special Permit, CD12. Calendar number 20, C230262 ZSK. Calendar number 21, N230263 ZRK. In the matter of an application for special permit and zoning text amendment concerning 16611 91st Avenue. For favorable reports on calendar numbers 20 and 21, Chair Grodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Bozarg.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Dueck.
Yes.
Commissioner Gold.
Yes.
Commissioner Goodrich.
Yes.
Commissioner Kermani.
Yes.
Commissioner Medin.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
I vote yes, and wanted to recommend also that in this report we consider being explicit about the recommendations made by the borough president, but also the sustainability measures that were committed by the applicant.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendar numbers 20 and 21. Borough of Staten Island, calendar number 22, 180 Campus Road, CD1, N230389 ZAR, and the matter of an application for the grant of an authorization concerning 180 Campus Road. For the adoption of calendar number 22, Chair Grodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Bozarg.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell. Commissioner Dueck.
Yes.
Commissioner Gold.
Yes.
Commissioner Goodrich.
Yes.
Commissioner Kermani.
Yes.
Commissioner Medin.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Calendar number 22 has been adopted. Borough of Staten Island, calendar number 23, 64 Enfield Court Restoration, CD2, N240100 ZCR, in the matter of an application for the grant of a certification concerning 64 Enfield Court Restoration. For the adoption of calendar number 23, Chair Grodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Bozarg.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell.
Yes.
Commissioner Dueck.
Yes.
Commissioner Gold.
Yes.
Commissioner Goodrich.
Yes.
Commissioner Kermani.
Yes.
Commissioner Medin.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Calendar number 23 has been adopted. Borough of the Bronx, supplemental calendar number 1, 3040 Scenic Place SNAD, CD8 N240176 ZCX, and the matter of an application for the grant of a certification concerning 3040 Scenic Place SNAD. For the adoption of supplemental calendar number 1, Chair Grodnick.
Aye.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Bozarg.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Crowell. Commissioner Dueck.
Yes.
Commissioner Gold.
Yes.
Commissioner Goodrich.
Yes.
Commissioner Kermani.
Yes.
Commissioner Medin.
Yes.
Commissioner Osorio.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Supplemental calendar number 1 has been adopted. The next part of the hearing is the public hearing on page 11.
Great, thank you very much. And we're going to ask those who are here to testify, and welcome to members of the public who have joined us today, to limit the remarks to 3 minutes. And I am going to ask you, Madam Secretary, to get us started with the public hearing.
For Brooklyn, calendar numbers 24, 25, and 26, Brownsville Arts Center and Apartments, CD 16. Calendar number 24, C240029HAK. Calendar number 25, C240030 ZMK. Calendar number 26, N240031ZRK. Public hearing in the matter of an application for UDAP designation, project approval, disposition of city-owned property, zoning map, and zoning text amendments.
Great. We have an applicant team here with us today. I'm going to just read all their names into the record here, and then we'll get started. We've got Jacob Bluestone, Anthony Drummond, Catherine Gray, Sharon Choi, Alina Farishta, Hala Saleh, Les Bluestone, and Kevin Joseph. So with that, welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You have 10 minutes, and looking forward to it.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, let me get the mic ready. Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning. My name is Anthony Drummond, and I'm a senior planner with the Department of Housing, Preservation, and Development. And I'm joined here this morning with Lena Farishta, our Director of Brooklyn Planning, Hala Salah, our Deputy Director of Brooklyn Planning, members of the development team, Gilbane Development, Catherine Gray and Saren, as well as Blue Sea Development, Les and Jacob Bluestone, who are present virtually. And we're excited this morning to be here, the City Planning Commission, to present on the Brownsville Arts Center and Apartments, which was certified into ULURP on August 21st. We're seeking a series of land use actions to facilitate the development of the Brownsville Arts Center and Apartments, which will be a new 9-story building with approximately 290 affordable rental apartments, 1 additional unit for the superintendent, approximately 25,000 square feet of ground floor community facility space dedicated to arts and cultural uses, and several outdoor open spaces, including a public plaza. The project is being developed as a joint venture between Blue Sea Development Company, Gilbane Development Company, and ArtSpace. The site was designated through the Brownsville RFP in August of 2017 and required that proposals be responsive to the visions and goals of the Brownsville Plan. This plan was developed through a community-based planning process to develop a shared vision and plan for the future of Brownsville. We held a series of public workshops, community events, and local partnerships to establish the plan. And a major component of HPD's investment in the neighborhood is creating new affordable housing on vacant city-owned land. The plan asks for a cultural community facility that promoted and supported arts and cultural activity in Brownsville, in addition to affordable housing. This site is the last one of 3 city-owned sites identified in the RFP to move forward in Europe. The Brownsville Plan coordinated over $150 million worth of projects implemented by city agencies to improve Brownsville's parks and open spaces and improve streetscapes and pedestrian improvements. In addition, since the Brownsville Plan was released, the plan will result in 2,500 new affordable homes in Brownsville, representing an investment of greater than $1 billion in housing in this neighborhood. Throughout this process, we've held a series of public workshops and community events that involve the community and provide input and shared ideas for the future of the community. Now I'm going to transition and pass over to my colleague, Saren, who will.
A key component of the plan is a cultural facility. We are partnering with 5 organizations, many of whom are here today, and are working with them to design some spaces so they can continue to provide affordable and accessible arts programs in the neighborhood. So there's Brick. They're going to be providing some accessible production space for podcasting and filmmaking. There's Pure Elements. They will have dance studios and some performance space. The Brooklyn Arts Council is also going to create some affordable studio spaces for artists and galleries to promote the artists that they sponsor. And then the Brooklyn Music School, there will be some private and group music rooms for people to practice. And Youth Design Center, which is a local Brownsville organization that teaches youth graphic design and other multimedia techniques.
Catherine Gray, Gilbane Development Company. So where is this? The site is located on a through lot between Rockaway Avenue and Chester, just north of Pitkin and south of East New York Avenue. The lot is 57,000 square feet and currently zoned R7 with the C23 and C43 overlay. It's on a significant north-south artery, Rockaway, with bus lines B7, B12, B14, B60, and easily accessible to the ACL 2, 3, and 4 lines. Proposed development is a 9-story structure with 290 units, plus 1 for an on-site superintendent. The ground floor space includes a 25,000 square foot arts facility, which includes a large black box multi-purpose space that can also be used for rehearsals and additional studio and classroom spaces. The residential amenities include laundry on every floor, 2 community rooms, bicycle storage, indoor fitness, and additional tenant storage in the basement. We have housing for people between 0 and up to 80% of AMI. 15% of the households will be for homeless referrals, and approximately 86% of the units are for households earning up to 60% of area median income. The proposed open space is split between approximately 5,000 square foot public plaza facing Rockaway Avenue, just adjacent to the entrance to the theater space. So it will function both as sort of amenity to the community, but outdoor sort of waiting area for entrance when you're going to see a performance. It's also going to function as a performance space for free arts programming during warm weather months. There's an additional open space that fronts onto Chester Street that will be accessible from the cultural facility specifically for the arts groups and the users of that space. And then a central courtyard space and a southern open space accessory for the residents of the development, where there'll be passive recreational space as well as some active fitness equipment. This are 3 layouts of the public plaza area. Fronting from Rockaway, the idea is that it's wide open at the front, so there are clear sight lines through to the back of the space. It's approximately 50 feet wide, 100 feet deep. And you can see there are a variety of layouts that are possible for the range of types of performances that are contemplated. There'll be extensive plantings and art addition, sort of a mural at the back of the space that will be visible from the street, done by, we hope, by an artist from the community. I'm going to hand it back to Saren to talk about programming.
So we incorporated programming that's really important to the administration. So first is supportive housing. There will be a 15% set aside, which is approximately 45 units. And there will be the Brooklyn Community Housing Services will be on site on the ground floor to provide services. We are also building to the highest sustainability standards. So generally the project will be passive house, which means that everything from the building design, including but not limited to structural design, insulation, window placements, the HVAC system will be designed so the building will use very little energy to heat and cool itself. And of course, the building will be all electric. We're also going to be producing some on-site renewable energy. So we're abiding by the new zoning for carbon neutrality standards that just got passed. And so on the roof, there will be 100% coverage of solar panels, which would produce anywhere between 300 to 400 kilowatt hours of energy. That energy is going to run into the community facility house meter, so it's supposed to spin a little backwards to reduce the operational costs for the arts groups so they can continue to provide affordable programming to the neighborhood. In addition, in response to kind of the climate issues that face a lot of the new buildings today, there will be some stormwater runoff, interventions such as a stormwater detention tank. We are trying to increase the number of pervious areas, so there will be landscaping areas that will absorb some of the stormwater, and also on the rooftop area, there's a terraced area that has some landscaping as well. In terms of workforce development, we are working with the CBEDC, the Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation, to identify and partner with local MWBE firms. There's also going to be free OSHA training for those in the neighborhood who are interested in entering the construction industry. And there's also a unique opportunity for youth to kind of get some design experience. So we're partnering with the Brownsville Community Justice Center and the Youth Design Center. You can kind of see the Youth Design Center's work because they're launching a website for the project. The idea is to really engage the local youth and give them some real hand work experience.
Thank you, Seren. And just to summarize, this project will result in the new building with approximately 290 affordable rental homes, with approximately 85% of the units affordable to households earning up to 60% of the AMI. It will include 25,000 square feet of community facility space dedicated to cultural arts programming, which is directly in response to the community engagement for the Brownsville Plan, and it will also include some publicly accessible open space for the community. Just to note, during ULURP, CB16 voted to disapprove the project, and the borough president voted in favor of the project, and the BP noted that the project aligns with his comprehensive plan, which was released a couple of months ago, and the HPD's Brownsville plan. We're happy to discuss any questions you may have. Thank you very much. And just one quick note, we also received 4 additional support letters, and we will be rerouting that to the commissioners.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Before I get to questions from my colleagues, starting with Commissioner Goodridge, I want to just thank you for this project. I think it's a really impressive and good thing, and I think it will be a really great addition here. But let me just give you a chance to address some of the issues that were raised at the community board level. As you noted, BP was a yes, community board was a no. There were a variety of recommendations that they made. Things like community preference, redesign of building facade, the affordability of units, unit size, parking. Do you want to address any of those or all of those?
All right. Yes, Commissioners. So the parking, just for the borough president, correct? Just want to make sure I understand your question correctly, to just address each one of the...
Yeah, I want to give you a chance if you want to respond in any way to the no vote at the community board and address any of the specific recommendations that they made. Sure.
Well, the community board raised concerns about in their no vote that their parking was a big concern, and that was also addressed with the council member as well, and also unit size and affordability. These were like the top 3 major concerns that they wanted to see addressed. And HPD, we're currently working through those designs and addressing those concerns for the community board. And I'll have Catherine.
I just want to comment that this project is located in a transit zone, and as typical with HPD projects, it doesn't include parking, so that all the money is really invested in the housing and the amenities that we're able to bring to the community. We're aware that the community board is concerned about traffic in the community, and it's a larger issue than obviously one project.
Okay, thank you. Let me go to Commissioner Goodridge.
I'm actually from this area, so I have a bunch of questions. And my main one is, when I saw $78,000 for the income shoot up on the screen, my eyes just rolled because I have a beef with affordable housing that is fake affordable housing, meaning that the income requirements don't match the area and are not actually low-income housing. It's moderate income, if that. So for Brownsville in particular, to have such a high AMI is really troubling for me. So, like, for example, I think some said up to 60% AMI, but for this particular project, if it is going to be affordable housing, I would like to hear why it wouldn't be extremely low income. And just to also say that even the actual income requirements for extremely low income are still higher than it should be in New York. So I would like to hear about why it's it's going up to 60% AMI for a bunch of the affordable units.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to actually have our Deputy Director respond directly to that.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. If we could actually go to the first slide of the appendix, this will show our current unit mix and affordability. Thank you, Anthony. So yes, this project is utilizing HPD's ELA program, which is the extremely low and low income affordability program. And there is a range of affordability tiers. As you can see here, we have a homeless set aside and then incomes ranging from 30 to 80% AMI. The majority of these units are skewed to be less than 60% AMI and are heavily leaning towards family-sized larger units, so looking at a lot of 2- and 3-bedroom units here. So the AMI tiers, they are distributed along to balance with the other items that are provided through this project. And, you know, we do hear the concerns about matching to the incomes of the neighborhood, and the team is currently looking at the affordability mix and seeing what we can do here.
Okay. I have a bunch of other questions. So unit size. And for the unit size, my issue with it is this neighborhood is very family, like there are a lot of families, they're near my houses. It's not, for example, you know, there's some neighborhoods where there are a bunch of college students, and so studios and 1-bedrooms would, you know, might be a little bit more aligned with it. For Brownsville, it's different, and so I would like to hear why there aren't more larger size units as opposed to most of them being studios and 1-bedrooms.
Sure. So as you mentioned, you know, there is more than a third of these units that are family-sized bedrooms, and the mix of the units are leaning within the HPD guidelines for unit sizes, which are actually larger and higher than the building code. But there is a mix that needs to be provided throughout the building, and we tried to do as many larger units that we could. So as you can see here, there are 96 units that are going to be family-sized. And I can pull it over to if you also want to add anything else.
I also think it's helpful to, if you take a closer look, that most of the studio apartments are set aside for supportive units. It's just generally the population of supportive users tend to be individuals. And so it might look a little skewed, but actually a majority of the units are 1s, 2s, and 3s, with a good chunk of them on the 2 and 3 side.
And then my last question is about I actually share a lot of the concerns of the community board, the transit. It's not, I mean, and this is just a problem in New York City, the trains in that area do not, I mean, like, for example, I'm in Bed-Stuy, the trains might come like every 3 minutes. The trains come like every, I mean, they're much slower than they should be. It's a real, like, problem. And so I do wonder with a large proposal coming in like this with more people, how it will impact transit. It'll be more people, specifically there'll be more people waiting for the train, there isn't parking, how it will, I mean, this is something that would be in the environmental impact report. I don't know if this might be actually one of the eligible ones to be exempt, but that's another issue. Oh, is it 250? Okay.
Hi, Commissioner. Thank you for the question. I understand the concerns you're raising. We've definitely heard them from Community Board 16. Just to the last part of your question about being exempt, this project does require environmental review since there is a rezoning involved. And there were no traffic-related impacts that were found. That's on the technical side. But going back to your other question, HPD, as you know, has limited amount of resources, and we're trying our best to kind of balance bringing 100% affordable housing to a community that definitely needs it and is asking for it. It's always been on the community district statement of needs continuously, and we're also balancing it with the feedback we've been hearing from the Brownsville Plan about a space for affordable local arts groups and tenants and nonprofits. So I think this project is very unique. The ground floor, we're hoping it to be active and an active part of this community. So there's a lot of trade-offs we'll have to continue to consider, along with the request for larger units that may reduce the total number of affordable units. And as you know, we're in a housing crisis. So the team has been exploring different scenarios based on the community board needs. And we've actually had a good conversation with the community board. We understand they had to vote no due to we're not, at the stage where we've come up with the solution yet to address some of their comments, but we're in open communication with them and have committed to going back to them and sharing updates as we explore these alternative scenarios. So we hope to continue to do that even if the ULURP clock for the community board has ended. So thank you.
Nonprofits, I don't know if you can go back to there. I was actually curious if they do they have I am actually just curious, do they have to have anything where they pay a lower commercial rent, or?
So we have worked, one of the issues that we've identified over time working on affordable projects with community facility space is that often there's a pressure to charge a higher rent to cross-subsidize the housing. In this particular case, we have worked very hard to raise additional funding to cover as much of the construction costs of the art space as possible to reduce rent to as close to zero just operating costs, so that the groups themselves or whatever income they do have is invested in the programming and ensuring that it's affordable or free for the people in the community.
I was curious because it would be a shame if, they're 1 year and then they can't afford.
Exactly.
It's no longer.
Exactly. So we've received a lot of money from the Department of Cultural Affairs, from the borough president, from city council, as well as philanthropies to ensure that the rents are as low as possible.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Osorio.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much for the presentation. Anthony, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I wanted to start by thanking you for the clarification you made about the passive house in the presentation. That was one of my questions, and I appreciate that because it's very useful to hear that clearly in the report, where I also appreciated the listing of the sustainability measures. I wasn't clear exactly to what standard we were referring to. And also, I also just wanted to take advantage of the fact that you're here to highlight the importance and how I celebrate the level of commitment that you made with Timbali in terms of passive house. So you're in a role. I want to start there. But then sort of like my questions, in terms of those sustainability measures, it would be great if you can share maybe in writing what you described today. Some of the strategies that you reference in the document could be potentially contradictory. For example, high albedo roof surface, and the green roof versus solar, are different things. And so I'm wondering if you can maybe in writing clarify a little bit exactly how much, where are you going to be producing the energy that you discussed, and so forth. I'm also interested in understanding whether there will be energy storage and how much, what is the capacity, and for what purposes. In other words, in addition to the passive house is there an intent to create a microgrid or any sort of potential energy resiliency capacity here? And so would love more details on that. So again, excited about sort of like hearing the city commit to these high standards. I want to see the details on that. The next question, unless there's anything you want to add, I thought what you said was very clear, but okay. So the other question is, so building on the chair's question about your response to the community board, you know, something that I raised on Monday with the department was and this has to do with the comment about community preference specifically. I'm very interested in understanding whether the Urban Development Action Area program or the connection between this designation with historic designation of an urban renewal area, specifically in terms of opportunities that we could use to prioritize formerly displaced families, or anything that could address sort of like the community's concern regarding community preference. And so I'm wondering if there's anything from your research that, you know, you could highlight that can help us understand what is possible here. It sounds like this, given the circumstances, may allow for a additional leverage in that regard.
Okay. Let me turn that over to our Director of Program Planner, Elena, on the UDAP.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your question. I just wanted to first explain that the UDAP piece, it's a separate authority than urban renewal, and it's only used for the disposition of property and tax abatements to allow for the development of affordable housing. And through, you know, our current policies for community preference, there will be, you know, the current policy is, you know, about 50% of the units that go on to Housing Connect would be a preference for those living in Community District 16. And in addition to that, so that's the district that, you know, the site is in. And in addition, you know, there is a set aside for the formerly homeless individuals as well. We would get, you know, referrals from DHS for that. And through that process, you know, folks can, you know, identify their preference if they would like to stay in Community District 16. And we do our best to coordinate with the DHS on those referrals so that they could be placed within this future building. And furthermore, you know, the team is going to be partnering locally with the community board, elected officials as well to help bring awareness about the future units that will go online. So we will, you know, this team has done in the past, like, you know, workshops, like how to do it. So we're looking to making sure our marketing campaign as well is broad and comprehensive to make sure folks who are living in the neighborhood or used to live in the neighborhood could come back and hopefully be part of this wonderful building.
So it sounds, going backwards, it sounds like on point number 2, you feel confident that through the existing approach, you're addressing the community concern?
Which community concern? Sorry, could you?
The need to prioritize community preference, basically, the point on community preference.
Yeah, so I think, you know, so of the units, that's about 123 units that are set aside for those living in Community District 16. But that, you know, beyond that, the more folks that apply from Community District 16 have a better chance of, you know, through the housing lottery process to get a unit in this building. So we're going to do our best through the marketing campaign to get to that and help those who want to live here get a chance to do so.
And that's useful. I appreciate that, and I think that because there's so much of a concern, not just here in other parts, maybe documenting that and explaining that clearly would mean a lot or go a long way in general. So thank you for that. In terms of the first point, apologies. Thanks for the clarification. I know that these are separate programs, but according to the Department of Finance, City Council designation of an urban renewal area is one of the main sort of like criteria for eligibility. So I'm wondering if there's anything that we could further research in terms of possibilities there. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think, you know, we could do some research about that, and, you know, come back to you, if we're able to come to a, you know, I'd have to, like, talk to more folks in HPD to understand.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it, and I'm aware this is more of a sort of like research question to try to understand how can we activate new tools to address the community concern, which at the end of the day is, you know, how can we both prevent displacement but also repair the damages, historical damages in this community from previous housing policies. I had another question, one final question, which is another of the points raised, highlighted by the chair, have to do with the character of the facade. The community board is concerned with the institutional feel of it, and I can understand that. I'm wondering if there's anything that you've discussed among yourselves in terms of how to respond to that. What do you think is possible in that regard?
Yeah, I'll let the development team help answer that.
Thank you.
So we have been working on a redesign to produce a more traditional housing facade that would be acceptable to the community. We do have some new images, which we will share via HPD with the commission.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Marin?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to follow up on the lottery issue because I do understand, having developed and marketed properties both in a rental scenario and in a market sales scenario, you don't always get your 50% community preference for whatever reason. What pre-exercises are you doing, not only to inform the folks that there's a building coming, but to educate them on how to clean up their credit, what paperwork is necessary, those steps that are required to qualify for the lottery, not just apply for it? That's my first question.
Okay. On the lottery question.
Hi. So for the units that end up on the lottery, there are some units across programs that aren't eligible for the lottery, but for the ones that are, we've actually had a 100% success rate of getting current residents from those community districts into the buildings. So it is a large amount of applications that come in. There's a lot of marketing that happens within the community. As mentioned earlier, our development team will be doing some additional outreach within the community to ensure that everyone is aware when the housing lottery comes online.
Are you involving community groups that are on the ground, that are talking to the people, not just the team, but folks that are actually out there on a daily basis, informing the community that there is something coming and we want to help you to make sure you do qualify? That is where I find the problem. Mm-hmm. And while you say, yes, you find 100%, I've never had a building that I've marketed that has had 100%, 50% community preference. So that's a real concern.
Okay.
There are a variety of organizations that are affiliated with HPD that do outreach related to Housing Connect. The Ambassador program is not funded, I think, at the moment, but there are organizations that do that work, and we expect to collaborate with a councilwoman who has a staff person in her office that works exclusively on helping people enroll in Housing Connect. We will be hosting a series of events in the community to inform people about Housing Connect and help them enroll in the program as well.
I appreciate that. And my second is not a question, but a comment. I think that the comment of design is not that it needs to be traditional looking. I just don't think it needs to be institutional looking is what the community is saying. So it doesn't need to be traditional, but it's just not, they just don't want an institutional, that screams this is affordable housing.
I understand your point. I would just note that some of the comments from the community board were that they wanted something that looked traditional.
I do understand that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Great. Well, let me thank you all very much for your time and your presentation today. And we're going to now proceed with the rest of the public hearing and ask some of the folks who've showed up to testify to come to the podium. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, next up, we have Wilfredo Florentino, followed by Catherine Green Johnson. So, Mr. Florentino, when you are ready and settled, welcome. You have 3 minutes. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Commissioner Grodnick and commissioners. My name is Wilfredo Florentino. I am a lifelong Brooklynite and the co-founder and chief strategy officer for Rooted Theater Company, a 501c3 organization founded in East New York, Brooklyn in 2013, only steps away from the proposed Brownsville cultural facility. Arts access disproportionately impacts communities of color. And Rooted is on a mission to engage, challenge, and inspire audiences through theatrical productions that range from the classics to new and emerging works. Our programming encourages social consciousness through real, open, and objective theater education. In the past 10 years, Rooted has served over 5,000 folks through youth and older adult programming, including a multi-performance season. Our primary hurdle as an arts organization, is space and the inability to secure affordable and accessible space. I'm here today to advocate for increased investment in affordable and accessible arts facilities and programming in our community. East Brooklyn is a vibrant tapestry of cultures and backgrounds, yet too many of our residents lack access to the arts, a vital force for creativity, expression, and community building. There are no existing arts facility in East Brooklyn. I'll repeat that. There are no existing arts facilities in East Brooklyn, leaving residents, particularly youth, elders, and families struggling to have access. The lack of access has a profound impact. It limits opportunities for creative exploration, personal growth, and community engagement. It hinders the development of young talent and stifles cultural richness in our neighborhoods. We need affordable access to arts facilities that offer diverse programming that reflects the cultural richness of East Brooklyn. Investing in affordable and accessible arts is not just a matter of cultural enrichment, it is an investment in our community's future. The arts have the power to empower youth, providing them with creative outlets, fostering self-expression, and building confidence, strengthening families, bringing communities together, and fostering intergenerational connections, revitalizing neighborhoods, creating vibrant cultural spaces that attract visitors and businesses, and boosting our local economy, supporting artists and arts organizations, creating jobs, and generating community-based revenue. East Brooklyn deserves an art scene that reflects its spirit and welcomes everyone to participate. By investing in affordable and accessible arts facilities and programming, we can unleash the creative potential of our community and build a brighter future for all. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Great, thank you very much. Next up, we have Catherine Green Johnson, followed by Andrew Ellis on Zoom. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me today. My name is Catherine Mbali Green Johnson. I am the chief consultant of Catherine Mbali Consulting and Creative Cultural Organization. We're a creative organization that has started in 2022. I'm also a former East Brooklyn resident. I stand here before you today in solidarity with my colleagues to support the Brownsville Arts Center and its vital affordable housing opportunities. A project that carries profound implications for the future of our community and our great city. The units, we're really excited about the units being designed with a deep commitment to research, community engagement, and co-creation with the CB16 and the New York City agencies like HPD to create an innovative approach to this unique project that ensures the existing residents are protected, displacement is prevented, and their concerns are addressed, prioritizing that they will remain in place for generations to come. This is why I stand here before you today. As for the Arts Center, I speak from personal experience, having witnessed firsthand the devastating consequences of the inequitable distribution of resources in our communities. As the founder and former executive director of Arts East New York, an organization that provided a cultural hub, a much needed cultural hub for the East Brooklyn community, we had to close our doors in 2020. This was not just a closure, It left a void, a chasm in the lives of the people we served. It was a stark reminder, it is a stark reminder of how important it is to invest in institutions that serve communities like ours and organizations like Rooted Theater, Pure Elements, and many others that stand with us today have gone without a place to thrive and provide place for those that they serve. And this has happened for far too long in far too many communities across our city. According to the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, the arts and cultural sector contributes significantly to the city's economy, generating billions of dollars in economic activity and supporting hundreds of thousands of jobs. Yet, despite this immense economic and cultural impact, certain communities continue to be underrepresented and underserved when it comes to cultural investments and resources. The New York State and federal arts funding also demonstrates these disparities. While there are substantial investments in the arts and cultural sector, these resources often flow disproportionately to wealthier neighborhoods, perpetuating inequality. Supporting the Brownsville Arts Center is not merely a choice, it is an imperative. It's an opportunity to invest in the creative potential of our youth, to provide a platform for artists and cultural workers who have long been marginalized, and to nurture a thriving cultural ecosystem right here in East Brooklyn. This project is not just about bricks and mortar, it's about the hearts and minds of our community. It's about empowering residents, especially our young people, with opportunities to explore their creativity and realize their dreams. In closing, I implore you to consider the Brownsville Arts Center not as a discretionary expense, but as an investment in the future of our community. I thank you all again for your time and attention today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, and thank you for being with us. We have a question for you before you go too far. Commissioner Osorio, go right ahead.
Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts with us today. I have a question. So I appreciate a couple of the things that you said in terms of the importance of the work in this area of Brooklyn, but I'm wondering if, in addition to just providing these services or the space, affordable space for these activities, there are opportunities that you think are possible in terms of not just providing the space or potentially providing employment, but actually creating local wealth. Mm-hmm. So in terms of the actual control of the infrastructure, et cetera, what do you think could be possible here?
Yes, excuse me. So that's why I'm here as a consultant for the Brooklyn Arts Center team for Bluestone. I was a former ED for Arts East New York. But since then, I've started my own consulting company, so I'm here to make sure that we work with community residents, doing some deep outreach and working with them on creative ways that they can see a path to wealth for the community and making sure that they remain a part of this project. It's a deep investment, and there are many ideas. I've worked with organizations in California and throughout New York City and even abroad where projects like this can be a deep investment for the neighborhood and seeing how they can generate wealth and sustainability. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I encourage you that maybe in your written testimony, if you can reference some of those examples, that'll be very useful for us. Thanks. No, you don't have to do it. Oh. I encourage you to submit written testimony and include these references there. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the question. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Next up is Andrew Ellis on Zoom, to be followed by LaShawn Allen Muhammad here in the room.
It appears that Andrew is no longer in the Zoom room.
Okay, then we will move on to LaShawn Allen Muhammad, to be followed by Sainbu Njai.
Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is LaShawn Allen Muhammad. I serve as the Executive Director of Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation. I am honored to be here and testify in resolute support of the development of the Brownsville Arts Center and Apartments, spearheaded by Gil Bain, Blue Sea, and HPD. This transformative project holds great promise for the Brownsville community, and CBEDC is proud to stand as a community partner. Central Brooklyn has long been a vibrant hub of diverse cultures and rich histories, yet the need for a dedicated state-of-the-art cultural center such as the proposed project has been a long-standing aspiration of Brownsville residents. The potential impact of the project on Brownsville's socioeconomic landscape is noteworthy. And CBEDC firmly believes that the establishment of a cultural center in the heart of Brownsville is a crucial step towards fostering community engagement, empowerment, and economic development. I grew up in Brownsville, so I speak from personal experience when I emphasize the crucial need for a state-of-the-art cultural center like the proposed project. Throughout my formative years, access to such facilities was non-existent. And as a leader of economic and community development, I am aware of the transformative impact it could have on the socioeconomic landscape of Brownsville. Cultural centers become focal points for creative expression, educational opportunities, and community building, contributing to the overall well-being and resilience of the neighborhoods they serve. The arts possess a unique ability to bridge divides, transcend socioeconomic boundaries, and foster unity and pride within the community. The establishment of the Brownsville Arts Community Center is not merely a development project, it is a testament to the community's resilience, well-being, and cultural richness. I will submit the rest of my testimony in writing. I just want to emphasize that not only did I grow up in Brownsville, I grew up in NYCHA. I was born in Brookdale Hospital, raised in Tilden Houses. So I understand all of the concerns from the community, and we are an organization that has served the community for the past almost 35 years. And so our mission is essentially to provide access and pathways towards self-sufficiency, which includes being able to afford affordable housing units, to provide access to education that will prepare the residents, not only for employment to work and build in their own community, but also to afford the apartments that are being developed. The city is moving in a certain direction, and there's no escaping that. So as a nonprofit organization serving the community, it is our job to make sure that we prepare the residents. So we will be working very closely, not only as the local hiring and MWBE partner, but also to help as a housing ambassador with HPD to make sure that our residents are ready, credit ready, and
time.
Okay. Thank you. I will submit my
You can finish that. You can finish your sentence, though, if you wanted to finish that thought. Go ahead.
I'm done.
Okay, all right. Well, Commissioner Osorio has a question for you.
I'll submit my
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and for sharing your thoughts with us.
Yes.
I think that, I speak for myself, I think that it's clear that this is a tremendously important investment, public investment. That's I think, clear. I'm concerned with the potential unintended consequences of these amenities, which suggest that we have to anticipate potential gentrification. And so what I wanted to ask you is, from an economic development point of view, from the type of work that the Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation does, what do you think are some of the potential safeguards that we could connect as we think about the land use component of this application in terms of like neighborhood-wide? How do we make sure that the people who we are planning for can actually enjoy it? So from your point of view, what are some of those potential strategies that we should be thinking about as we decide how to invest public resources in places that need these types of amenities?
Thank you for your question, Commissioner. I think that part of it, well, first, I actually want to address a question that came up earlier. What's being done now to prepare residents? So we actually host in-person monthly meetups for this purpose, to make sure that the community has access to information that's currently, that projects that are coming, being developed, the opportunities, so that they are prepared and they have an opportunity to build relationships. And so we do this every single month. And so we talk about, so that it doesn't become something that looks like it's being built in the back of in their backyard without their involvement. We are making sure that they become civically involved and civically engaged, so that they understand that they are part of the process and that this is not something that's happening around them, but with them. And that is how we prepare. And on the topic of gentrification, I like to think that we are gentrifying ourselves, because by definition, gentrification only means that a community or a neighborhood the income is moving from one level to the other. So that is I don't think anyone's goal is to remain in poverty. So we are making sure that the community residents that live there, even those who are in the shelters, if they choose to stay in the community, we want to support them to be able to do that. So that's how we look at potential gentrification. We're doing it ourselves to make sure that. And I see you're looking like, what do you mean gentrifying yourselves? I mean just what I mean by definition, that the people who live in the community will be able to earn more money so that they can remain in their community. And so I don't think about other people moving in. I'm making sure that the people who are there remain in the community.
Thank you. I appreciate your response, and I think that last phrase sort of like clarifies what I think we were both referring to.
Yes.
The need to prevent displacement. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Commissioner. Next up, Sainabu Jai, followed by, and forgive me if I've done harm to your name there, you can correct me when you come up, and then Rasu Jalani to follow. And after that, I do not have anybody else. So if anybody else wishes to testify, please, now is the moment to sign up. Welcome.
All right, thank you. And you did correct the name. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sainabu Jai, as he just said, and I'm here to stand in solidarity and in support of the BACA, the Art Center in Brownsville. As a 5-year resident of Brownsville, I get to see, the everyday culture, the everyday attitudes. And then as a nonprofit director, I kind of get to, as I see need and as I see issues and situations, I can come back as a director and say, how can we fix that? How can we address that? How can we engage the youth? Because the youth is our edge, is our specialty. A lot of people here, are basically, the allies for the residents and for the adults, the parents, the leaders of the family. But we specialize in the youth because we understand that, that 10-year-old that's going to become a 15-year-old by the time you build this thing can tear it up or shoot it up before we can even have a art show up in there. So our edge is to basically, make sure that the youth understand the value of something like this. And we, this spring, we went smack dab in the middle of Brownsville. We took our cameras out there, our lights, and we were working on a film project. And what we saw was that when you bring the arts to the people will bring themselves to the art, and they will naturally civilize themselves. They would naturally stabilize themselves when they have the mental wellness part of engaging the arts. We were dead in the middle of the projects. The kids were arguing and fussing on the basketball court. When we got there, they're engaging us, trying to see what we're doing. We invited them over, and in that, we kind of made them say, hey, we made them kind of correct themselves. If you want to be a part of this film, this thing we're working on, we won't interview you unless you respect each other. We won't interview you unless you straighten up. So I think, as a youth-led nonprofit, our edge is to get the youth together, get the children together so that they're not, tearing up these infrastructures and, engaging in gang activity, which is I think Brownsville is the most prevalent Brooklyn neighborhood for gang activity. So that's, our edge, and I stand here in support because I do think placing a center, bringing the arts to the people, will allow the people to have a natural response, come to it, and then stabilize themselves. But at the same time, I do want to double down on what Commissioner Goodrich said, as well as Ms. Muhammad said about we don't want fake affordability or fake accessibility. We don't want it to be, a thing of that. We want it to be genuine, and we want it to be for the people, by the people, and we need it to be tailored to the actual need and not something based off of stats, numbers, and all of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Okay. Next and last is Rasu Jalani. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Thank you for your time. My name is Rasu Jalani. I'm the Executive Director of Brooklyn Arts Council. I will be, and projected to be, our organization to be one of the art institutions in the Brownsville Art Center. A little bit about myself. I am a native New Yorker. Although I'm an immigrant, I wasn't born on this soil, but I came here at a very young age. Grew up in public housing in South Jamaica, Queens. Moved to Bed-Stuy. and did a lot of work in East New York, Brownsville as an organizer. So I know the community very well. With that, Brooklyn Arts Council is a 57-year-old organization that serves Brooklyn, right? All of Brooklyn. We cannot have any discrimination in how our services show up in the communities. However, I can speak to you very directly about the lack of investment and the disparity of priority, funding, and services in the East New York, Brownsville, Central Brooklyn as a whole. Central Brooklyn, which holds roughly about 300,000 people, only has 3 institutions. That is Restoration, that is Weeksville, and Brooklyn Children's Museum. And I am stretching it, right? When it comes to Central Brooklyn, specifically Brownsville, there is a lack of institutions. A lack of institutions that hold and preserve culture of that neighborhood has a dire impact in how we see ourselves, how we educate ourselves, how we hold resilience, economic resilience in communities. We know this as a fact. My colleagues have said a lot. I will spare the details. One of the things that we're doing as Brooklyn Arts Council is we have prioritized Brownsville and East New York as an impact area. We did an equity impact study for the last 2 years and found tremendous disparity of investment, not only from the state, from the city, but also the funding institutions. So what we have done is in the last year, fiscal year 2023, we have invested over $50,000 in services and programming in Brownsville alone, and $160,000 in regrants to Brownsville artists and art organizations. We intend to invest more with support not only from DCA, but specifically NISCA, who's given us more money to support areas like Brownsville, East New York, Sunset Park, and Crown Heights, which we consider these areas. How does the Arts Center serve Brooklyn Arts Council? We're in Dumbo. There's no such place. I'm from New York. Wasn't a place, right? Now, all of a sudden, we have to figure out how do we serve the communities and joint proximities to the communities that we serve. Brownsville Arts Center will allow us to do that. Not only investing in those communities, but also being present in those communities, offering free residency spaces, offering free rehearsal spaces. That's our intention, right? So I just want to go there. Thank you for your time. But one thing I do want to say before we leave is that if we do not address accessibility and affordability in New York City, we risk being a gray, wealthy metropolis with no spirit and no culture. That's my warning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you for being here with us. Okay, well, with that, I see no other members of the public to testify. 2 more unsigned up, though. Okay. Okay, why don't you come on up? We'll register you in real time. We want to make sure you get your shot. Thank you. Come on up, and you have 3 minutes. Just state your name, and we'll put you into the system.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Kevin A. Joseph. I am the co-executive artistic director of Pure Elements and Evolution in Dance, one of the lead partners with the Brooklyn Brownsville Art Center. And thank you for allowing for this moment. Mine is going to be really brief. My colleagues have addressed their testimony from multiple perspectives. But I'm also a long-lived Brooklynite. My parents were from Trinidad and migrated to New York. I grew up in NYCHA housing in Brookline, and so I'm very familiar with East New York and Brownsville. I ended up falling in love with dance, and someone had the audacity to pull me under their wing. But, of course, the common story is that I had to then go to Manhattan to train. I ended up being a touring artist nationally and internationally and choreographed, and that's how we ended up, along with my co-founder, Lakai Worrell, we created Pure Elements to serve the community that we grew up in. I'm very familiar with the lack of resources in East Brooklyn because I've lived it and I've seen it, and we've concentrated our efforts as an organization to fulfill our mantra, which is inspire, create, and motivate. We have raised hundreds of students to go on to specialized high schools where they may not have been an opportunity. Our organization has over 100 employees that we employ weekly, monthly, so we consider ourselves as a young workforce development organization as well. my testimony concludes with the need for not just performance and cultural arts space, but a way to show our community and develop them from a sense of confidence by building skill in areas that empowers them on who they are and defines them as a people in their own community. And with that, I'm saying thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. I'll be brief.
Sure thing.
I'm Lucy Sexton. I'm with the Cultural Advocacy Coalition, New Yorkers for Culture and Arts. We have a membership of more than 350 artists and cultural organizations from across the 5 boroughs. Our mission is to work towards a future where every New Yorker has access to the community-strengthening power of culture. I'm here to endorse the plans for the proposed project, which would include the Brownsville Arts Center. A groundbreaking study of New York City done in 2017 showed that neighborhoods with robust cultural centers had better outcomes in mental health, education, aging, public safety, youth impacted by the criminal justice system, and community well-being. Kids who regularly engage in the arts do better in school and have a data-proven improvement in their chances to graduate high school and attend college. Elders who gather to dance, to tell stories together live longer, healthier lives. When the community has a place to connect with each other, to play music together, mental health improves, and the community is stronger, more connected, and safer. Brownsville and East New York have been historically and criminally disinvested in on all fronts, and that includes arts and culture. The city, state, and private philanthropy have stated their desire to improve equity in their funding practices, which have failed Eastern Brooklyn for decades. Building a home, a physical space for local culture and arts to grow is an urgently needed first step in the struggle to make those commitments to equitable funding a reality. These chances are rare. I implore the committee to move forward with this critically needed investment in the people of Brownsville and Eastern Brooklyn. I'll end by saying that I grew up in Fort Greene and Park Slope in the 60s and 70s, where I took dance classes as a toddler, dance training in my public high school, and more. My family's lifelong friends, the Robinsons, grew up and still live in Brownsville, where they had access to none of that growing up, and even today, they must travel to take their kids and grandkids to classes, shows, even a movie. We were and still are a tale of two cities in New York. It's rooted in racism, it handicaps communities and lives, and it must change. I wanted to just end by saying you've been talking about the wealth and growing wealth. As Kevin just said, he, is training a generation of people who are going to move forward into the careers in the arts. Talked about BRIC having a podcast center there. Talked about the Brooklyn Design Center training kids in design. Arts and culture and the creative industries are one of the main industries of New York City. And we have to do more to train the kids who grow up and live in New York City, particularly in under-resourced neighborhoods, to have jobs in those industries. So thanks very much for listening to me.
Great. Thank you very much. I will do one last call just to make sure there is nobody else who wants to be heard today. There's nobody online either. Madam Secretary? Okay. Well, with that, we will close the hearing, and I will ask you if there are other items on the agenda for us today.
No, Chair Grodnick, there is no other business before the Commission, but I do have some public information to share. For those of you who are unable to or did not wish to testify, you can submit written testimony online by selecting this hearing on the upcoming meetings page of the NYC Engage portal, through DCP's website, or by mailing your comments to City Planning Commission Calendar Information Office, 120 Broadway, 31st floor, New York, New York, 10271.
And with that, a very happy holiday season, New Year to all of you. We will pick it up in January. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
The time is 11:19 a.m.